What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title of this video, we are doing wedding makeup, event makeup, long wear makeup today. I'm so excited to share this video with you guys because I'm obsessed with this look, but I just love the way it feels on the skin and I also love how it lasts. So if you have an upcoming event or wedding, this is the video for you. It's honestly not that different from my normal glam. It's just a couple things that I do, tips, tricks, things I've learned to make my makeup last, and a couple of the products that I'm using make my makeup just not budge and feel and look, I think, so good. So if you have an upcoming wedding, an event, if you wanna see how I got this look right here, then keep on watching. Okay, so first things first, obviously I have my skincare on. Skin prep is so important. I always tell you guys this, but all I did today was cleanse and do my LMS moisturizer. And then I did my First Aid Beauty eye cream, Eye Duty eye cream underneath my eyes, obviously, because it's just a great way to hydrate and brighten the under eye. I like to start most days with that under my makeup. And then I'm using the Lawless Forget the Filler lip mask, overnight plumping lip mask. Oh my god, you guys, I told you I think I like this one more than the Laneige one. It just feels so good. I feel like it really works overnight, but I also just love to use it as like my hydrating step before we start my makeup. So I'm gonna zoom you in a second, but the only other thing I want to do before we start is go in with my Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dewdrops. I'm gonna do just like 1.5 pumps of this. On the day that I did my makeup for the wedding, I forgot these and I was so sad, but I use them almost every single time I put my makeup on because I just need that extra level of hydration, and I just feel like it gives an additional layer of like this beautiful glow. So I like to do that right before I get started. I would even say, like, if you can let this sit for a few minutes and let it get really tacky, do that. Okay, had to do a little adjustment there, but we're ready to go. So we are zoomed in. You can see everything. I'm hoping this is close enough, and this is gonna just give you a great idea of what everything looks like on the skin. So first, I'm using my Milk Makeup Blur Stick. I always use this when I'm doing like a full faced look because I really just want it to fill in my lines as much as possible and my texture. It also helps keep me from getting too like dewy during the day. So I'm just going straight on the skin with this. I also want to bring this down the neck because I do have lines on my neck and I want those to be filled in as much as possible. And you can see it can get a little bit like pilly if like I probably didn't let those dewdrops sink in as long as I should have, but you can just kind of blend it in and make sure it's all smooth. Another option is to mix those dewdrops with your foundation if you want, instead of doing the dewdrops and then the blur stick. But I do like to use both of these because I want the hydration, but I also want the smoothness that this gives me. So just want to make sure you're giving this enough time. I'd say like 5 to 10 minutes before you're going on with anything else because you want it to fully sink in to the skin. Okay, so now we are going on with foundation. We're going for it, okay? So the Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation is incredible, you guys. I am so excited I found this before the weddings that I had in July because my makeup lasted so long. It looked incredible. This formula really is amazing. So I'm wearing the shade 2.5 N Medium Nude. Sorry, I know it's kind of dirty and gross. And I'm gonna mix this in with a little bit of my Flawless filter just because you guys know I want that glow. So I'm doing just like, there you go, about that much. Not much because we're already quite glowy as you can see. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and blend on the back of my hand and go right onto the face. This foundation really blew my mind when I first used it and I cannot stop using it ever since. So I had to show you guys on camera, everything. Also, I feel like it works best with the Beauty Blender. So I'm just bouncing this on the skin and watch how it blends out. The shade match is also perfect for me right now. I have a little teeny bit of a tan, so it's perfect. And I always go for neutral shades when I'm looking for foundation shades because I have neutral undertones. So when it says 210N medium nude, the N is for neutral. When it says, like this one I have 210C light buff, C is for cool. W is usually for warm, or G for golden. Usually those are warmer undertones. I lean neutral to cool. If I do a warm undertone, my skin ends up looking really orange. Took me a lot of years to figure that out, so I had to share. But you can see now we just have this beautiful wash of color, but just even skin tone. It doesn't look like I have a ton of foundation on. And the other reason I love this formula so much is because it doesn't need much on top to set it because of the finish. It's not this crazy dewy finish, which I feel like doesn't really work, especially for summer weddings, because then I feel like I have to pound on the powder and things start to look cakey, and that never works for my skin. So this type of product is just ideal. You can see I'm still glowy, but look how much more even. And again, I'm not matte, but it's like this velvet finish. Okay, let's move on from the foundation because I could talk about it all day. For concealer, we're using Nude Sticks Nude 2. I switch between Nude 2 and Nude 1. Nude 1 usually in the winter, Nude 2 in the summer. Just hitting any blemishes, which I have a few. Then highlighting, and then redness around my nose. Everywhere I always conceal. We're also gonna hit the tops of the brow bones just to add some lift. And then we're gonna grab our setting spray. I went through, honestly, this entire little travel size of setting spray in the last 2 weeks. It's so sad, I'm so sad. But this is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. It is my all-time favorite. I just think it adds a layer of like flawlessness to the skin. And I like to apply that between a lot of the different steps of the makeup application when I'm doing a full coverage all day type of look that's gonna last. Oh, the other thing I didn't mention about this foundation, it's meant to last 24 hours, which my makeup did not move. And I was in the heat all day. It's incredible. So we're just blending that out. Okay, so since I tend to crease in my under eye, I like to set this right away. Some people like to let that sit for a minute. I like to go push in with my finger and make sure nothing is creasing. And I like to set my under eye right away. So this is where I'm gonna use my little puff from Beauty Blender in my Givenchy Prism Libre powder in the pink shade. I believe it's Rose. And I'm just using a little bit of this. Just like that much. And again, like I said, pushing and making sure nothing's creased. And then just setting that right there. And you really don't need much of this. I'm just pushing. And then if I feel like there's some excess, like I did a little too much, I'll just grab a little fluffy brush and dust that away. Because like I said, I don't want much of this. I don't want things to like settle and look crepey, but I want to set that under eye. You can see how much brighter that looks and how smooth that is now. So we're gonna leave it at that. No more powder for a little while. Next, we're going to let's do the brows. Let's just get those done. They're always like my nemesis. And I think I'll probably just fast forward this part for you guys because this is no different than how I usually do brows. And yeah, it's my tried and true method. I can do a whole brow video if you guys want, let me know. But these are the products I always go back to. I've tried a million and I love other products too, but for this type of look, I rely so much on my 24-hour brow setter from Benefit. The brows don't move when you use this. And then I use my Goof Proof brow pencil, also from Benefit in the shade 3.5. So just gonna quickly fill these in. I tend to spend a good amount of time on my brows for events just because they really frame the face and I want them to look very clean. Way more time than I usually spend on like the everyday when I'm just like throwing in some product and gel. But I just want to make sure they're symmetrical and everything that I want. So I usually switch between the spoolie and the product to make sure everything's blended. And then once that's done, I go on with my brow gel. And this is a clear brow gel. It just kind of defines them a little bit more and it gels them in place. All right, time to warm up the face. We are using, of course, you already know, the Charlotte Beautiful Sunkissed Glow Bronzer. It's Charlotte's cream bronzer. It's the best. Shade 1, Fair Pale. I wouldn't think that this would be my shade, but it is. It's perfection. I've showed you guys this before, but just look how it warms up the face, but also blurs and really perfects the skin. This is one of those non-negotiable non-negotiable. Why does that word sound weird? I don't know. I'm gonna just skip that word. This is one of my ride or dies, okay? I can't go a day without using it. And I don't even need her powder bronzer anymore because of the way this sets itself. I usually was doing like a cream bronzer with her powder bronzer on top, and now this is all I need. I'm doing under my jaw, down my neck, kind of right where, do you see these natural lines? I'm just defining those a little bit. This is gonna create a little bit more of a sculpted look. Also, this is the brush that you can buy with the bronzer, but I said this earlier or in another video, and you don't need this brush. I think it works just as well with your own type of brush, but I do like how fluffy this one is. Normally I would have gone on with a more dense brush, and I like how this just diffuses the product better. But any brush that looks like this is gonna be fine. Doing the nose kind of lightly, like I'm not being too crazy about it, and I'm also hitting the lids because I just want to base down there before we do eyeshadow. Okay, look at the difference between what we were just before this and now where we're at now. It's honestly incredible. So beautiful. I love it so much. So I'm also just going to grab a teeny bit of concealer and define and carve out my cheekbones a little bit, just like that. And then I want to diffuse that line a little bit too. This is just gonna give a lift to the face, but we don't want that crazy line. So I just kind of blend it, and then I'll use the butt end of the sponge and diffuse that line a little bit. And then I usually even go on top of that with a brush and diffuse it even more. I used a couple different blushes for this look. So I'm gonna start with Dibs shade 5.5. I just love this mauvey pink color. And I'm going on the back of my hand just so I don't disturb anything we've put down on the base. I'll use my beauty sponge for this, and I'll just pick it up and I'll just press this in. Right at the tops of the cheekbones, this little C right here, that's where we want it. You can see it's subtle when you apply it with the beauty blender, but it still makes a difference, and it just gives this really pretty glow. I'm going over the nose as well. I'm just kind of blending this all in here. So I like to put a cream blush down first, and then I'm gonna go over with the powder. Before we put any powder on the face, I'm gonna put on my eyeshadow. I'm using the Jaclyn Hill palette. I used the Morphe 350 during the wedding, but it was my friend's palette, and I don't have a 350 anymore, and this one works. So I'm really just keeping in mind that I want neutral or cool tone browns. I don't want to do a ton of warm tones. This one is a little bit warmer, so the look could turn out a teeny bit different, but bear with me, it's super basic. So I'm going to start with a shade like this that is just going to be kind of the first one I put down right here. It's like a transition shade, okay? And it's almost the same color as my skin, but it's just gonna be a nice base for everything that's gonna go on top of it. So we're gonna start with that. And I'm using my Morphe M441. This is an oldie but a goodie. And you can see, guys, I'm so like da-da-da. Like I'm not that precise with it, especially that first transition shade. I'm just kind of getting this everywhere. So this one is what we started with. And now I'm gonna mix these two. Same type of shade, just a little bit darker. So any palette that you have, that's kind of where you want to live. Pick your first shade and then basically pick up the next darkest shade in a similar color family and build on top. And you can see this one, I'm just pressing into the eye. I'm really not swiping, swooping. I'm just pressing it and I'm building out that intensity. All right, now we're gonna move down here. These tones are exactly where we want to be. I love this cool tone brown. Even this one is great, but I think I'm going to do this guy because it has a little bit, it's a little bit lighter. And same exact brush, and I'm just pushing this in that outer part of the lid. Again, we're just intensifying that color. And look, see how we're just kind of building? This is how I do all my eyeshadow looks. I just build, build, build. Just have to be patient with it. A little heavy-handed over there, so we're gonna use the excess here. And if that ever happens to you, just grab a clean brush. I love my Morphe E27 for this, and just lightly blend that in a little bit better. And you can see we're creating just this outer V here. Any edges I see, clean brush, and dust those away. Okay, now I'm grabbing a smaller guy just to do that lower lash line, and I'm using the same shades. You can mix them all together, you can build them up, but you basically just want to hit the lower lash line and define that. And you're gonna kind of bring it out and follow the shape of the lower lash line like this. Like, see where this line's going? Boom. You're gonna create that shape right there because that's where our wing's gonna go. And I'm just diffusing that out. All right, before we put the wing on, I'm gonna grab a lighter shade. So I want, actually, let's leave it. I just want like a matte white, which I don't have in this palette. So we're gonna leave it right now because we'll do shimmer on top. So for the wing, any angled brush is going to be your best friend, and you're gonna use either a dark brown or a black. I'm actually mixing the dark brown and the black in this palette. And you guys have seen me do this before. I have a whole tutorial on the shadow wing, but you're going to continue this line of your lower lash line and put the product right there. That's your guide. And then you're going to press the product right on the outer lash line. I never know what to call these different parts of the eye. The outer lash line right here. And I'm not bringing it all the way in yet. I'm just gonna go right to about the pupil and then connect from this corner to here. So right like that. You wanna look straight ahead when you're doing this, especially if you have hooded eyes. You don't wanna be looking down because then your shape's gonna be a little messed up. So I just like to look straight ahead and connect these two. Got that same brush that I used on the lower lash line, and I'm just gonna diffuse this a little bit and just kind of smoke it out even more, really lightly. And then do the exact same thing on this side. Okay, so once that's done, you're gonna do any excess product that you have on your brush, and you're gonna bring that in and just keep this line nice and thin, but you're gonna connect from here to here. I like to bring it all the way in and then even extend it just a little bit right like at the tear duct. It's gonna make the shape of the eye like a little more almond, which I like. So there you have it, wings are on. Now for mascara. I am about to blow your mind with this mascara. This is the new Jones Road mascara. It's Bobbi Brown's brand. I was so shook when I used this mascara, you guys. I couldn't believe it. It might be replacing telescopic, which like I feel like guilty even saying. First, I'm just gonna pop on a little bit of my Lash Food Primer, which you do not need this, but for an event, I just want my lashes to be as big as possible and just primed and ready to go. I like to do all these like little extra steps when I'm going to a wedding or something like that, so that nothing happens to the makeup. It does not move. Actually, really quick, we're gonna let that sit and we're gonna go back into our palette and we're gonna grab a kind of champagne-y tone shimmer. So there's one right here. It's nice and bright. It's actually quite bright. And I just wanna do a little bit of this. My nails are so long, but right in the inner corner and that blank space on the lid where we didn't really put any eyeshadow. This is just gonna brighten the eye. Okay, so if your nails are too long like me, you just wanna put a little bit of that on a small brush and you're gonna hit that inner corner and then up onto the lid. You can see that just adds, I think, such a pretty touch. Like, it just takes it to the next level in my opinion, and it's so easy. You can also do this before you do eyeshadow or before you do the liner part, but it doesn't really matter as long as you don't hit the liner. And then I'm just gonna make sure those blend together seamlessly with my same brush I used to do all my other shadow. Just have to be careful of fallout with this type of look, so you could always do your eyes first and then your face makeup to make sure that everything is nice and clean. Personally, I just never like to do that. I like to get my face done first. I don't know why, that's just how I am. I just feel like I can't visualize the way I need to. Anyway, let's do our Jones Road mascara. You're about to have your mind blown. Okay, first of all, look at this applicator. It's crazy. So I like to use it kind of upside down like this so that I can fit it right at the base of my lash and just pull up. My only gripe with this mascara is I feel like I make a mess when I'm applying it. So for this type of eye look, I need to be a little more careful. So look at that, you guys. It's insane. It is so thickening, it is lengthening. It honestly, when I used it at the wedding, I was like, I don't know if I need lashes. I did put a little bit of a lash on the outer edge, but if you don't want to apply lashes, this is the mascara for you. I am so shook by it. Like I said, you have to be pretty careful not to be messy. And I'm constantly like spreading it out, and I don't want to use too much. Like sometimes I'll even scrape a little off, but it's unreal. Look at the difference. So I'm gonna let the mess that I created dry over here and then do the same exact thing on this side. All right, so once that's all dry, you can see this side's dry, this side's still wet, but I'm just gonna grab a clean spoolie and basically like comb off that mess, and none of my eyeshadow is disturbed. That's the trick. Just gotta let it dry. Be patient. So we gotta wait for this one. All right, so it's time for lashes. I normally use the Ardell Demi Wispy lashes, but today I don't have those, so I'm using the Lily lashes in the style Diamonds. And I like these. These are really pretty. They're wispy, but Ardell Demi Wispies are my favorite. They're just the easiest to use. So I always trim my lashes, so I'm choosing a pair of little baby scissors, and I'm cutting off about 4 little, do you guys see what I'm talking about when I say that? Like 4 little sections, that size. So when you're done cutting, you just want to measure them on the eye and make sure the shorter end of the lash is going the direction of the inner part of your eye, so shorter to longer. I'm using my Duo glue, and I'm just coating this pretty good. Grabbing my tweezers, let that glue dry down for about 15 to 30 seconds. Then you're gonna wanna take a handheld mirror like this, hold it down in front of you, and look down. That way you can just drop the lash right on the lash line where you want it. And then I am pushing to make sure it is attached on both sides, and especially like right, the edge. Holding it and just kind of moving it around until I feel like it's in a good spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Holding it, letting it settle. The most important is that the outer edge and the inner edge are down. And then once they are, I like to kind of make sure they are really as close to the lash line as possible. So you can see that just adds so much drama, so much dimension. And I feel like once your hair is done and your dress is on, like it all works. So let's do the other lash. I'm gonna do that off camera. The only other thing you might wanna do for lashes is pop on a little bit more of that black or brown shadow right where we did the liner to make sure that the band is completely covered. You obviously don't want the band to show. Now for lips, last thing we're gonna do, I'm using the NYX lip pencil in the shade Nude Beige. I have been obsessed with this color. It is so good. It's like this mauve-y, I don't even know. It's perfection. Can you guys, how's this zoom? Hopefully good. Okay, I'm overlining here and then following my natural lip line over on this side. And then on my right side, I overline a little bit because my lips are not symmetrical. Just right here, and then I go down to my natural lip line. Same thing on the lower. And isn't that lip liner shade so pretty? It's like, oh, I don't know if I've ever used anything like it. It's almost like a contour shade, but still a perfect lip shade, if that makes sense. And then always filling in the corners, these triangles right here. So here, 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 and here, leaving the rest of my lips the way they are. Then I use my Dibs pink gloss because I just wanted like a pinkier lip. You gotta go on top with blush really quick, but it's not super pink, but it adds a little color so that I'm not like totally brown lip. For blush, I'm going into my Hourglass palette and I'm mixing the 2 blushes in this. You guys know I love this palette. This was in my capsule collection video and I use it all the time. This is what's gonna add life to the face. I'm gonna dust a teeny bit of this on the lid as well, just to bring a little color. I just love a pinky shimmer blush for a summer wedding. You don't need much of this, it's so pigmented, but I feel like that just wakes up the face, adds so much life, and it's gonna look great in photos because it's a little intense. It's a little more, it's just a little more. Okay, that's it, you guys. The only other thing that I did was I would grab my cloud set from Kosas and just basically hit anywhere on my face that needs a little more like flawless finish. I kept this with me all day, but barely had to use it because this makeup did not move. And then setting spray, of course. So sad, this one's almost gone. Oh my God. It's like, the stream is just so bad, but it's okay. I'm gonna actually grab my sponge and just wear that. Was a weird stream, push that in. Last thing, not necessary, but if you want to put a little more powder bronzer on, because we only did cream, I used the Mario Sculpting Perfector, just a little bit, you guys. Or you can use any powder bronzer that you like. Charlotte, Tarte, those are some of my favorites. All right, I'm just putting my hair in a low bun for the sake of you visualizing what this might look like as like a more formal vibe. You see what we're doing here? So here's the final look, you guys. I absolutely love it. I'm telling you, this will not move. The only thing I reapplied during the day was my lip, which is standard because we're eating, drinking, talking. And I didn't want to do like a matte lipstick because that's just not my vibe. So I hope you guys love it. I love the tones. I just love the drama of it. Like I said, it looks amazing in photos because it's more drama on the lashes, a little bit more of like a sculpted face, defined eye and lip and brow. But that's what you want for an event, especially something you're gonna be photographed at. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful. I know it was a lot of products, but let me know what you thought, if you liked it. I know this can be a lot, but I tried to pare it down and make it as simple as possible. I promise you guys, it is completely attainable. Take it step by step. You can absolutely do it. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe before you go, and I will see you next time. Bye.